Previously on. So this has been my take on the Oscars finally recognizing casting as a category starting in the 2026 award show. I gotta go get a haircut. Next time you see me, this'll all be gone. And I'm back with a fresh cut. Gotta love the power of editing. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or depending on what time you are watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. The thing about getting older is you acquire different types of tastes. And this doesn't have to just be for food, it could be for other types of things, lifestyle, culture, and in my case, movies. So if you had a time machine, you could go back in time and meet the 19, 20-year-old pretentious wannabe filmmaker Josh, who hasn't even gone to film school yet. You would basically come to find out that he did not want to talk about anything when it came to movies, except for the big Oscar-type movies. If it wasn't nominated for an Oscar, I don't care. That was just the douchebaggery phase of my life. And I grew out of that, thank God. And then I went to film school, and I did actually start to appreciate different types of movies. Cut to about 5-6 years ago, I started to grow an interest in bad movies. And my favorite to this day still has to be Birdemic. When it comes to the bad of the bad, the top of the list, it's hard to not talk about Tommy Wiseau's The Room, which is the movie that I was introduced to while in film school. So that movie had always kind of stayed in my mind for a while. When I was living in Los Angeles, I actually had the opportunity to go to a screening of The Room when they were promoting The Disaster Artist. That's actually how I got this shirt here. I won this answering a trivia question for The Room. So when it comes to The Room, I actually only had seen this movie once before, and it was at that screening. And let me tell you, some of the most fun you'll ever have watching a movie. Just a level of involvement the audience goes to with this type of screening is insane. So when I found out that Tommy Wiseau was coming to town to do a double feature of not only The Room, but his newest masterpiece, Big Shark. I apologize if my voice is a little shot because, I was basically one of those audience members screaming throughout the movie, probably pissing off the guy that was sitting in front of me. To that guy sitting in front of me, I do apologize. I wasn't trying to be that loud, but it was a lot of fun. So sadly, I didn't get a chance to meet Tommy because it was a packed show and there was a meet and greet. The line was, as you can imagine, pretty darn long. But I actually came to peace with the idea last night that I don't need to meet Tommy because I've actually met him once before. And if you'll indulge me for a bit, I will tell that story. When I was living in Los Angeles, I was working on a show and we were traveling a lot. So we were in New Orleans for about 4 days for a wrestling event. And as we were leaving, we are at the New Orleans airport and we're walking in to the airport when somebody walks by me, and somebody with, significantly long hair, and I'm just thinking like, man, that looked like Tommy Wiseau. And then I kind of turned to my one buddy and I was like, and I think he saw him too, and we kind of said to each other, like, was that Tommy Wiseau? Having to just take the opportunity of the moment, I turned back around, went right up to him, and I go, Tommy. And he does his classic thing, like, wow. And I said, hey, can I get a picture real quick? He goes, oh, I'm so busy. Come on. So I was able to get a photo with him, which was really cool. And the thing I actually noticed as I'm doing the picture and kind of walking away is that there was somebody there with him, standing there kind of waiting as I'm getting my photo, and that was Greg Sestero. And I think what it was at the time is that they had a movie coming out called Best Friends or Best Fiends or something like that. So I think they were going around promoting it, and that was the idea, because this was 2018. So when it came to last night and not having a chance to actually meet Tommy, I was totally fine with it because I'd already met him before. And Tommy was also introduced before both movies. I got to see him talk. He was walking around. He was standing right near me. So I was cool with that. That's all I needed to see. So we did The Room. A couple of my friends there had never seen the movie before, didn't even know anything about it. So it was just awesome to see their reaction. My biggest thing to them was like, you got to do the spoons. So we had the plastic spoons. I brought little mini footballs. It was a sold out show. So much fun. Great energy. That's just the type of energy that it's hard to find in a theater nowadays. And this is the type of interaction with the audience that I don't mind if people are talking. I don't mind if people are screaming because that's the idea. And it's more fun when people are more involved with this type of movie. So this is probably the most fun I've had at a screening in a while. So The Room ends. All right, time for the next one. The next one is Big Shark, a movie that I have known about for a while. I remember seeing the trailer years ago. All I remember about that trailer is the three guys, Tommy being one of them. Also, Greg Sestero's in it, which I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then just the water comes, and then you just see a little crappy CGI shark. And then you hear just Tommy screaming or something like that, and it just says Big Shark. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I need to see this movie. I don't know when this is coming out, if it's coming out, but I need to see this movie. And then, time went on, things weren't happening. And then finally last year, I think they announced something, or maybe like another trailer or an actual trailer, and like, okay, now this movie's actually coming out. Awesome, I can't wait, because I love shark movies. Jaws is actually my favorite movie of all time. However, if I was in a Birdemic movie, I'd say it like this.
Jaws happens to be one of my favorite movies.
The idea of Tommy Wiseau making a shark movie blows my mind. I think I was more excited for Big Shark than I was for The Room, just because it's something that I hadn't seen before. So when the screening started, I knew it was going to be a different type of experience, because the people all there had known nothing about this movie. So there was like no inside jokes, there was no references. You just had to watch it as fresh as my haircut. But it was funny because one of the things that people were just kind of carrying on from The Room into Big Shark was those references, like the water thing. Like, obviously it's a movie that's called Big Shark, there's gonna be water, so you see shots of water, people would still be screaming water. There was a few times where people were kind of joking, saying like the Hi Denny part and certain things like that. And then going back to the Greg Sestero thing, because that's the thing I remember, is like, oh, Tommy and Greg are making another movie, it's gonna be a shark movie, they're playing firefighters, this is awesome. So when the movie starts, you see Tommy, he's one of the firefighters. You see these two other guys. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not Greg, so he must be coming at some point. Maybe they're just saving like this really cool cameo for him or something like that. And then they kill the shark. Okay, there's no Greg in this movie. That's weird. I thought I remember seeing him in the trailer. I thought I remember seeing him promoted on like posters and stuff. I think his name's even listed on IMDb. And what I found out is, so Greg Sestero's name is attached on IMDb. He's listed as Georgie 1. So I think what happened was they made a teaser trailer back in the day. That's the original trailer that I had seen, with the three of them standing on the street and the water coming in. And Greg plays one of the firefighters with Tommy and this other guy. And that was always in my head of like, oh, okay, so Greg's in this movie and he's going to play one of the characters. Well, it turns out he's not playing that character and he's not in the movie. So I think he must have either just not been available or just something else happened and they had to recast him with this other guy that played the part. Which kind of sucked, because it would have been cool to see a little bit of a Room reunion with the two of them, but what can you do? This movie is destined to become a cult classic. I think one of my favorite things about Big Shark has to be this. So the whole movie is set in New Orleans, and it's about these three guys, these firefighters, who basically, their whole thing is, oh, we have to save New Orleans, we have to save the people. It's going to become the new drinking game. Anytime they say we have to save people or we have to save New Orleans, take a shot. So my favorite thing about this is that anytime they're like, there's like a action scene, or they're like, oh, we have to save people, we have to save New Orleans, it will immediately cut to a scene of them either at a bar drinking, playing pool, or at their apartment. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, these are like the worst heroes in a movie ever.
I told you.
I mean, first off, they pretty much saved nobody. They do kill the shark at the end, so great, you did that, cool. But pretty much a lot of people died in this movie. They establish early on that there's supposed to be like help coming, that there's like the army or the navy or something like that that's on their way, and then conveniently they're gonna be late. There's a massive creature destroying a major city, and the army's just gonna be late. Like, oh, okay, great writing, Tommy. I absolutely love it. It's a shame that it took 20 years basically for him to direct another movie, which is crazy. He's done other stuff, and The Room is the thing that he's probably going to continue to just try to promote and focus on for the rest of his life. But it'd be cool to see him do other things as well, like Big Shark. I don't know if this movie's going to become available to stream somewhere. This would be a great hang out with your friends type of movie to watch. Like I said, make a drinking game out of it. My thing is, anytime they say they got to save the city and then it cuts to them doing things that are completely against that, like I said, playing pool or going to the bar, please scream out, people are dying, because that's what's happening. People are dying and they're just having drinks and playing pool. I think he said he's going to try to do a screening once a month wherever it is, so if you can find it near you, I highly recommend it. Bring as many of your friends as you can. If they do a double feature with The Room, even better. But that's it. That's my take on The Room. That's my take on Big Shark. At this point, Tommy, take it away.
I said the same thing sometimes. And one of those things I say, if a lot of people love each other,